Hello everybody, I'm just doing some tests with my PC. I've been offline for a few weeks, few years, few whatever. I've been having problems basically, you know what I mean? So I'm back in here, getting things back ship shape and ready. Well, today I'm just testing HDR, SLI, and SLI, HDR, and refresh rate. Basically, CIG has just been doing a lot of updates, and we all know that SLI is not supposed to work. But because of the updates, this game's very memory intensive. So now that I've got two SLIs, it's supposed to work in equivalent as a 380 Ti and upwards within reason. What I mean is, it won't have the same effect because it's not got ray tracing. But the 480 Ti's, 380 Ti's, I've got 24 gigs of RAM. All the other memories are only 11 gigs like what I've got, but because I'm using 280 Ti's, I have technically got 24 gigs of RAM, but it doesn't quite work that way, okay? Unless you've got the 20 series upwards and you've got the NVLink. But the point is, I'm using 36 lanes instead of 16 lanes of graphic lanes, which you would have using a single 30 Ti or 40 Ti that's got 16 lanes in single format. I'm using SLI that's got 16 lanes, that's 32 lanes, just like on the cores when you're on your processor. Now the reason why I find this important, because Star Citizens is memory intensive, okay? And to combat that, you have to use the SSD. Well, I'm not doing that. I'm actually running the whole of this game in RAM. That's all my compiling in RAM, playing the game in RAM, everything is in RAM. So there's practically zero latency, etc. You know where I'm coming from. Obviously in the future, I will not be able to do that on this PC because I've only got 128 gigs of RAM. I can go to 128 gigs of RAM, 256 gigs of RAM, but the way CIG is updating their stuff, it's just about another 2 years before that 260 gigs of RAM is then out of date. Then you're going to have to go to 512, sorry. As you can see, it's all to do with memory. This game is supposed to be run in memory to get its true performance, plus a lot more other things. The SSD is supposed to be there for storage. I'm also testing the HDR. Basically, I've just bought myself a Samsung and I've just understood what 2000 MIPS mean, 1000 MIPS, etc. Basically, it's all to do with how bright the screen is. Well, 2000 MIPS messes with your eyes. 15,000 MIPS, it's supposed to be about right, but it's not. That's the problem I've been having with tired eyes, etc. Now I'm going VR very soon. These VR glasses will have the same effect. Now what is HDR? Well, if you've used SDR and such now, the first thing you notice that the colours are popping. I've had to turn down the colours because obviously to me it wasn't natural. In the real world, yes, I know things are supposed to be washed out, but things that pop out of your natural basic colour, prime colours, that's not supposed to. It's like, for instance, look at that. You know you've got yellow, that's not true yellow. Red is not true red. Green, not bad. But like I said, it all depends on the monitors you've got. I've just got top of the range last year's monitor, but it's got no gold in there, so the yellow will not show as how it's supposed to show. Now when it comes to frames per second, FPS, I've actually found out playing this game, okay, you need a minimum of 60 FPS to play this game, especially if you're using tobii4c. Why? Because it's very important. As you can see, when it comes to very difficult moving around this. Basically, as you know, Star Citizens need a lot of memory, right, so it can play the game. Well, Tobii also needs that type of latency. Now, if you've not got the frames per second, you get stutter. That alters a heck of a lot with the processors and things don't work properly, basically. So basically, it's tuning the PC so Star Citizens can work with Tobii, but you must have at least over 60 frames per second for Tobii to work properly with Star Citizens. If Tobii Star Citizens can't get their frames up to 60 frames per second, you'll have all the side effects like tired eyes, things too bright, drowsiness, the whole bloody lot. Now I have 4K, okay, 8K. Now my PC can run in 4K, but then you'll get the stutter, the same thing affects tired eyes, drowsiness, all sorts, double visions, and then you've got bright lights, all those come into effect. So now I'm actually playing my game in 1920, but I do believe it's rendering at 220, so you guys can see the higher frame rates. Now this is what I mean by that. My PC is rendering up, not down. As you can see, the game is in the 120 frame rates per second, but when you're seeing it on the YouTube, it's going to be rendering up. So that means you get better quality. What that does, it takes off a bit of the processing power. Not much, but everything counts in this game. HDR, as you know, intensifies the colors, but that doesn't work properly. Now, as you can see, I am actually running in 120 Hz at the moment, and my PC is not set up for that. And because of that, as you can see, the frames are so smooth that stops tiredness and drowsiness. But it has to be over 60 frames per second. Also, the MS, I've noticed on average, which is impossible to get down to 15 MS. Now that takes a lot of pressure off the processor. Remember, our PCs are pretty powerful, but they're not powerful enough to run things at this magnitude. But my PC is pretty versatile. Right. My roleplay has changed slightly. I am now a fugitive in Star Citizens. Now it doesn't mean I'm a fugitive as a bad person, because I don't really believe in physical violence, but just as to say, I was in the wrong place at the wrong time, and now I've got to defend myself. But what makes it more interesting is everybody's shacked up, or everybody lives at Orison and whatnot. I don't live on Orison. I live in my ship at a base just outside, and that gives me everything I need. I'm not actually a cargo hauler, but I can do cargo. I don't need clothes, I don't need food, I don't need to buy everything. Everything's self-contained. If I want to do cargo, I can do cargo. If I want ships, I can do ships. And I'll be building my roleplay as how I intended to come in the game in the first place 5 years ago. But as you know, things change. I became a tester, I became this, I became that, because that's what people wanted. And after a while, it took the fun away from the game, because obviously people wanted more. You can't give what you've not got. But this is my type of roleplay, and I'm going to be building up on this roleplay as we go on. My roleplay is about perm of death. If I die, I start all over again. So I've got to learn about stream sniping, anything that's going to mess up my roleplay, it's not griefing, as long as I've got a defense over it at the end of the day. And I'm glad it's all in there, because now I can learn of ways to combat it. Because when the game starts, you need to know all of these things. String sniping, griefing, whatever. At the end of the day, the whole objective is you not to die. Read one click. Read one click. Read 2 clicks. External view. Eye tracking is also another thing. I've been having problems with eye tracking in so many different ways, but it works with your brain. Now, for instance, as we all know, eye tracking is very sensitive. Alright? Now, the first thing is looking from left to right. That's from there to there. Now, when you've got that speed that's right of how fast you want it to move, then you dial that in. Now, that is done through this. Looking from left to right, that is done through this. This tells you how fast you want to go left and right. That tells you, and the left lower it is, tells you how slow. So basically, if you want to go 150 degrees from left to right in 2 seconds, it should take you 2 seconds to go from left to right. But in some situations, that's too slow. You want it faster, so you speed it up. And to your brain, the graphics and everything's smooth with it. Now that is how fast you go from left to right. Up and down, the same thing. Now there's a delay, okay? Because sometimes the pitch is not very stable, or you move too soon. So you've got a couple of seconds delay. So basically, when you move right, it'll be 2 seconds before it will move right. Now I'm just using big number because I know what you guys are thinking. 2 seconds, you want to move in a fraction of a milliseconds, yes, but that was my way of explaining it. So basically, when you want to look right, it takes 2 seconds to move. But let's put it now into milliseconds, it's the same thing. Why? Because obviously you'll be getting all these judder up and down, and it's not nice. And how to do that is on this. That is on your delay. So you see mine's off because I got mine almost dialed in, you see. And anything you do to the eyes, I mean sitting down, this is the sitting down section, this is the standing section or third person. Make it easy. Sitting, third person. Okay? Standing, third person. Okay? Sitting, cockpit. So obviously that's the delay from left to right. Then you've also now got these. I've turned these all the way down, it's still on test, so it reacts a lot slower, okay? But as you get better, you turn these up so you get more responsive. There is a heck of a lot more, but those are the basics. Dead zones. That at the end of the day is okay, but like I said, it goes the way it sounds. As you can see, 1 second to go from left to right. That's 2 seconds actually. And that's a full clock work. I can make it go faster, but it's not smooth. So better is make it slower so I can see the information. Also, the higher graphics, the better the quality. But if it's not smooth, sorry about it, if it's not smooth, the quality then degrades because obviously it's all stutter. So yes, the right frames per second and the quality of the graphics is also important when it comes to quality. Mine's set at low because everything's on test. It can go to 4K, okay, but at the moment it's best to build up slowly because remember, you've got crashes. I don't hardly get crashes anymore. Now I'm going to be flying around testing the tobii eye tracking, its full capabilities, and what I can add and tweak at the same time, with the aid of voice attack. Be 2 clicks. Be 3 clicks. Be 3 clicks. Internal view. Speed 3 clicks. Speed 4 clicks. Half speed. Half speed. Full speed. Been having problems with my voice attack since I bought these new microphones. It could be to do with the noise cancelling. Testing, testing. Testing, testing. Half speed. Speed 5 clicks. Full speed. Full power to the engines. Full power to the engines. I will be explaining how I've got SLI to work in this too, but not today because it's a bit complicated to explain. Raise landing gear. The cable plays a very important factor when it comes to SLI, believe it or not. Testing, testing. Raise landing gear. Raise landing gear. Raise landing gear. Raise landing gear. Now what's happened, the voice attack needs to be rewritten and it's not an easy 5-minute job because now that I'm speaking different words actually come up. That's because obviously things happen in the background that's not supposed to be. So I'll have problems with that, but it's not just setting up and it's only a couple of minutes. This can take months of work. But anyway, let's fly. Raise landing gear. And you see without my voice start working, certain things I want to do with radars, etc. I can't use. And I really wanted that for the Xeno threat, you see. Activate cruise control. Right. One thing you'll have noticed, I don't usually fly with cruise control on. Okay. Now, I now use cruise control when I'm on planets because I've turned off my main thrusters so people can walk around the ship without having any G-force reactions, etc. And it also cuts down the reaction times. But I find flying with cruise control at a low speed gives you time to sort things out, and also what's most important, with the main engines off, it cuts down my emissions. Now my emissions at the moment is at 1200, so that tells me my engines are on. But I need to cut down my engines now. Just the main engines, because I'm in the Carrack, all ships are different. Main engines are off. Alright. Yes, I know I'm flying forward, but because the ship's set in such a way, I won't have problems. Now I want my EM lower than my IR because that's how I'm not detected. If it's working or working not, that's how it's supposed to be in the game. But automatically I will play that way. Now my IR now is below, my EM is now below my IR. So obviously I should not be able to be detected for at least 12,000 meters. Now why is that important? The retaliator bombers throw a lower signature from a lower distance. You don't see them, but they see you. They blow you out of the sky because of your IR. And your IM. So if you can put your IR below a certain what they call it, you should be able to see him before he sees you. But obviously, that comes over time, depending on what components you've got on the ships. And these ships at the moment, they are going for a cargo refactor, components refactor, the whole lot. But you can simulate most of it, like taking off your guns, etc. I'm not combat, so I don't need guns. So I have an advantage. The Carrack, if you're on your own, you can't use the guns. There's no point having them on. So what's its defense? It's speed. If it's a small ship, it can't hurt you, really. If it's a big ship, you can outrun it. That goes missiles, torpedoes, depending on its speed and how efficient you are. I won't be able to comment on the quality of my graphics or anything like that until I come off stream. So if there's any stutterings or anything like that, I'm sorry about that. I won't know for at least 4 or 5 hours. Usually I do have a second monitor, but the monitor I've got doesn't really work properly. But no, it does work, but because this new monitor I've got is so bright, it's a little bit difficult to focus on the second monitor. I also learned the difference between vertical thrusters and maneuvering thrusters. Them big things are vertical thrusters. That keeps the ship afloat. You can't turn that off or you've got no stability. The maneuvering thrusters at the bottom, do I need them? The reason why I'm thinking about it is because if I can turn them off and use other thrusters to compensate, that cuts down on the IR. I do believe those are maneuvering thrusters at the end of the day. Them ones at the front, then they're called the teeths at the front. I'll be using these thrusters a lot on and off in my gameplay. That all depends on the co-pilot and engineer. There's a lot of role playing for that at the moment. Full power to the engines. Full power to the engines. Now I've noticed, I heard, they're doing a server wipe in the next patch to some degree. To whatever degree, they're doing a server wipe. Right, my views on that, I understand the reasons why. Okay? The question, was it necessary? TIG says it is. Right? I'm not going to debate that. Right. What are the main problems? What they've wiped? Credits. For whatever reason, credits are a very important factor in the game. Now, because you've got X, Y, or Z credits, that's not the point. The point is at the end of the day with the credits, you get to be able to test new things above and beyond the game's capabilities until the game's release. And if there is anything wrong, you know how to combat it. Wiping things at the end of the day doesn't solve the problem. Eliminating it does solve the problem by finding out what caused it in the first place. I.e., example, as you know, the habitats or Port Olisar, etc., has a cap of 100,000 cargo units. I deliberately went to break it. Now, the only way I could break it was to take all my components off my ship and put it in the habitat. Okay, making over 100,000. Okay? Now, because of that, sorry about that. So I've just got a bit of distraction there at the moment. So because of that, as you know, if you go, basically, I deliberately filled up the habitat's cargo space with over so boats. So basically, I had 130% of cargo. Now what that meant was, obviously, you can't put no more cargo in there or anything because it's not going to let you do it. Well, basically, yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, going back to cargo. Now, yes, I deliberately went to a task to see if I could overfit, see what would happen. Well, I did succeed in filling the cargo at low by 200%. Now, what that did, it stopped me from putting things in there, but didn't stop me from taking things out. Now, there is a cap on the cargo, alright? So that means, obviously, if your stuff is full, you either take it, you move it somewhere else. But where the boo-boo is, because the cargo refactor is not in, everything's stored at one station. Now, if you've got all these things, food and whatnot, and all these things you bought from other patches, stored at one station, obviously, it's going to take away a lot of your play. But yes, you can sort it by taking stuff out from there and moving to another habitat. Well, I did that by reducing certain bits of by moving things around. So obviously, when it comes to moving things around the shops over a certain capacity, it wasn't broken. It was just like when we first came to cargo, because CIG didn't word it properly. That's the reasons why it wasn't done the way. So basically, if you got a cargo capacity and it's supposed to only hold 100 cargo units in there, and you're holding, say, 150 units in there, obviously it's not going to work. But later on, if you've got over a certain amount of cargo, say you're supposed to only have 100 amount of cargo, and you got 150, you have to pay extra for the storage space. Okay? just like in things in the real world. That would be a way around it until you've got time to move them to a special place. Now that I didn't there know because I tried to sell up a lot of my stuff and I was upset selling my stuff because I lost 50% of the stuff that, like engines and whatnot, because I run out of storage space. But if I was able to pay for extra storage in the game until I was able to move it, then I would have been happy. All these are not in the game now, but they will be in the game sooner or later. Now this is not just a stream to help others, this is something that I need for later on when I go to update my portfolios or whatever, and I take little snippets out of this to remind me. Because after all, as the patches there get better, you're forgetting what happened in the early patches. CIG's got a habit of turning things off and turning things on. And so if you remember what you did in the early patches, you can work around them bugs, because that's where things break basically. Now you've noticed there's a big massive server improvement. I've noticed it. This is supposed to be 3.13 or 3.13.2. I believe some of the implications in here now. Because at the beginning of this patch, I couldn't get frame rates like this. Whichever mode. With Tobii eye tracking the whole lot. And I've not even had to down tweak my PC, which I have to do later on. Plus there's other things I'm going to be going through. I'm not doing testing anymore. I'm creating roleplay, but obviously to perfect my roleplay, because the game's in develop, obviously certain things will have to be tested, but only within the game probability. So I test the eyes. All over the place now. I like to fly at night because it makes me have to fly by instruments, you see. And my instruments are not working today. Why is low altitude flying so important? So important. lower you can fly, you can evade radar detection. So let's make up some numbers. Okay, if your ship goes over 3,000 meters in height, so 3 kilometers in height, or 3 meters or whatever in height, you will be detected by radar. Okay, below that, you won't be detected by radar. So what's the problem there? Missiles, as you can see already. Missiles can go high, but they can't go low really through these gorges. Unless another plane's tracking you. Next patch, as you know, CIT is doing a server wipe, but if you want to have credits, bang 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 bang, you're gonna have to do the Xeno threat, and then when the new patch comes in, you get over 200,000. I'm not doing it, not because there's something wrong with it, okay, because at the end of the day, making the credits for a specific purpose, and when the time comes, it's not there. Basically, I spent 6 months, a year, making credits for the brand new merchantman. That's not coming through. Yeah, I don't know what's happening with the whole sea. Basically, because obviously, like I like to test and find out what the panic stations are, where you're going to lose so much money if the game's not working properly, or the above things to go with it. So, I want to see what it's like making money and living on a habitat on scavenging. I'll be using the Carrack, okay, with basic necessities. Basically, if you remember in the early days before 3.0, when we had to do cargo in the Caterpillar, you know how hard that was. You know how scary that was, alright? Well, obviously, this is the improved version. So I'll be flying my Carrack just like I would fly the Caterpillar. I made money with that easily. But it's got teeth, expensive strength, it's got speed. So I won't need cargo to start off with, because obviously where I'll be living, I can start off with the looting. So I'm not spending the money. Repairs, I can do repairs. And it won't cost me, but it will, but it won't. I won't have the headache of starting off at a habitat like everybody else, because it's too much drama. So I'll be totally reliant on bed logging. Without that, my gameplay can't carry on. Exploration is what I do. What I'm doing here, I'm actually tweaking the eye tracking, very small menus. Basically, I just zoomed in just now. It was a little bit patchy, jumpy. I thought I had a bit more clearance when it's 0, so I'm going to drop it by 2, see that improves things. If not, I'll put it back to 25. That seems to be a lot more smooth, as you can see. Left and right. A little bit slow, but that's okay. Now I'm going to zoom in now, see what quality I've got. It's F4 and plus minus key. Not much. But it's actually a lot steady, but it's not stable. Now what I mean by steady is looking from left to right. It's not too quick. Remember, I'm zoomed in. So obviously you're going to be a lot more sensitive. Now I'm going to see if I can take any more when I'm zoomed out. So I'm going to have to reset the arm. Says I've got a little bit more on the speed orientation left to right. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to take it down and throw out 2 more clicks on the left to right in third person. Right, I do believe 20 is too low. Now, it all depends on what graphic resolution you got running at it, because every graphic resolution changes. This one's for third person, that one's for seating. I'm working on the third person. 9 times out of 10, what you do in third person will automatically work on seating, but don't count on it. That's going to be too slow, okay? That I know for a fact. Now, it said it's not too slow. I know it is too slow because in third person, in eye tracking, also it's the same when you're standing up, not sitting in the seat like I am there now. That's twice as fast. But that there is not right. It's snappy. That is snappy. Now, there is another way to combat that, okay? And I'll show you that in 1 second, but just remember, I want to check something out first. Let's go back into the sky. Seems to have no effect. Now that's strange. But it is a lot more stable in close-up views. It's not as snappy. Also in the DPS should give me something better at the end of the day. This is tweaking, okay? Because obviously it's got to work with other operators I've got in the game. But that there seems okay for now. And you can see I'm moving around the mouse. It's in tune with the mouse. I'm going to zoom out. That's pretty cool actually. If I have to say so for myself, I'm going to fly this month for a few minutes. Now I haven't got any main thrusters on, okay, that's them big two bright lights, and those are not on, those are off. That cuts down my emissions by a heck of a lot. In a big ship like this, if you look at my emissions, it's 10,000. Now for a big ship like that, that is not bad, because this can give out emissions 4 times its normal capabilities, especially in jump drive. But now that's like someone looking for me in a needle in a haystack. Now the reason why this is so important, I'm a streamer, okay? So you're gonna get stream sniped, but I see it as a good thing because it makes you learn other things in defense and strategy in the game, and also able to play the game in many years to come. Basically, as you know, us streamers are going to be hounded, executed and whatnot because they think it's fun. But I'm now looking and finding ways how I can still play the game and still stream and still stay safe. But obviously that comes with extra skills. It's not about this man's trolling. If I'm good enough, I should be able to still play the game at my capabilities and have these added extra facilities. If I can't do it, then don't do it. It's just like saying, for instance, I want to go to Pyro. I'm not going to go to Pyro in a small ship. I'm going to take the biggest ship because I want to come back alive. Not rocket science. Easy, really. So for me, like I said, stealth, strength and speed and knowledge is a key factor. And having all these things working, like eye tracking, voice attack, all them things working in perfect harmony with your game gives you that experience. Two clicks. Oh, it's daylight once again. Eye tracking's not that easy, you know. It's not just having a set of apparatus in front of you and expect it to work. You have to sit down and really concentrate, especially being a streamer. Yes, it's okay for me to be doing all this, but for you watching it, it's a little bit disturbing. So, like I said, it's about thinking about you watching it and me doing all this at the same time. Practice makes perfect, okay? And that is what I want to do, practice. Nothing more rewarding than coming on the internet, coming to Star Citizens and sharing what you can see for yourself. It's okay, so good, and you say, hey, this is brilliant, but at the end of the day, if you can't share it with anybody, you know what I mean? Is there a point? It all depends. But what I'm seeing here now, I just want to share it. When I came to Star Citizen 3, 4, 5 years ago, the idea was there, but the visual content wasn't. This is visual. And even then, I had all the eye tracking equipment, not knowing how to program it myself. That's SLI that, but that's not quite SLI, that's also CIG's artifacts I need sorting. But the game just picks it up. Them things you see there, those are like dust clouds. That's SLI. Now what's happened there, mad rush of data's just passed through where my PC can't handle it. And that's where you got the flashing. So either it's a cable, this, whatever, or whatnot, has to be lowered. It's called bottleneck. Bandwidth. When I bought this PC 5 years ago, it was a project to find out if I could still run the same PC 10 years of Star Citizen being built. And you know something? This PC's been free smilled. TPM chip, all these upgrades, 480 Ti's, VR's coming in. This can run the bloody lot without having to spend extra money. But in the long run, might cost me about $5 grand, but when you divide it over 5 years, and you might have to upgrade your PC nearly every 5 years at £1 a year, that's not bad, £1,000. And can this PC have room to upgrade? Yes, it can, to twice its speed in 5 years from now. The question is, can it run, I didn't say Crises, can it run Star Citizens? Because remember, Star Citizens need a lot of things added into it, like eye tracking, all those kind of things, voice attack, all them kind of things. You're gonna have PCs, basically you might have 2 PCs just to try and run Star Citizens, one for visual and one for processing power, which will be coming in sooner or later. Fly a ship at this magnitude, when I first came to the game, people say the best thing to use on Star Citizens is stick and keyboard. Keyboard and mouse. I had to laugh. Didn't want to say nothing. Okay? All I could say, would you go into a car, start driving a car with a keyboard and a mouse? Not in this lifetime. And that's what I'm saying. But I've been playing games years, you see what I mean? So I know what it's like. It's these young kids today that understand these things, you know what I mean? Nowadays, we didn't really have keyboards or things, joysticks. Well, I did but they were very, very expensive. Calling me cray, running, all them kind of things. Now, let's talk about graphics and performance. Let's compare this with Flight Sim. I haven't got Flight Sim. I did have Flight Sim. Now, you can see the visual effects of this. Can you really tell me that Flight Sim is better than this? Not in a million years. One, the graphics. Okay, so work in progress, as you already well know. It don't stop there. Flight Sim is just one planet. This is a solar system with every artifact of every game. That felt like just looking out of a real plane for a minute. But when I do get my 480 Ti's, I will be going SLI. I'll have more power than what I need. Reason being because I'm going VIEC and it needs it. Because you've got to run the game. The VR also needs its own stuff to run there too. Get this to run properly, I'd have to spend hours tuning it so it's in frequency. I know it sounds a bit silly, but sometimes words escape me, you see. Oh, I'm sorry. I had my mic on mute again. Sorry about that. I've been talking to myself. Well, I'm going to put it back in its semi-native mode. Now, if I get the stream tearing now, it's going to be a little bit difficult, but I'm working on it. What I'm looking for is the double lines. Now let's go down close into the clouds and see what we've got. It's pretty steady actually. It's not the waving that's doing it, it's me. I'm just looking around, it's my way of testing things. And I said I'd never do any more testing again, and I'm still doing it. Now the problem is, as you can see at the moment on the normal flying, I'm struggling to get my IR below 8,000. Now there's no way I can get it below 10,000. I can over time, okay? But with the IR that low, the ER needs to be lower than that. Now with everything running at the moment, it's not going to be lower. I can turn the shields off. I've turned one shield off, and it's not a nice idea flying around the verse without no shields. So how am I going to get my ER down another 2,000? Sorry, I was checking somehow. Well, because I'm usually the one on my ship alone, I don't need all them guns. So I will strip the guns of the guns that I don't need. Put them on where I need them. That's problem number one. Number two, if I'm going to be flying with one shield all the time because of experience, that will also cut the power down by another 200 in the E and 2,000 in the EM. When you look down now, that the IR should be able to come down, EN should be able to come down to about say 8,000. So over time, when the IR comes down, it's 8,000 meters as the game stands now. Now the problem is, what point am I trying to make? Right, I've got to keep my eye on the horizon because I'm trying to fly and talk at the same time. What's the point of the arm? I don't know how CIG is going to be doing this, but just let's say the IR is a threshold. Alright? Now, if your IR is 10,000, in theory, you should be able to be spotted at 10,000 meters. Okay? But if your EM is higher than that 10,000 meters, say 15,000 meters, you'll be spotted at 15,000 meters. So technically speaking, you'd want to bring your IR lower than you want to be your EM lower than your IR. Okay? So the lowest possible range you can be detected. Alright, now what's the point of that? There's so many factors. Okay, you've got the retaliator bomber. That's a threat to the ship. Okay? But obviously it's got a signature. Now if you can fly your ship at this altitude, at most of the time, he can't see you to lock onto you unless he's in within 10,000 meters. Okay? But before, it was 30,000 meters plus because of the jump drive, this drive, and all those kind of things which can be eliminated in the game depending on your needs at that particular time. So if a retaliator comes in, he has to be within 10,000 meters to see you. But if he's 15,000 meters, okay, you should see him and he can't see you because your readings are below 10,000. That's how it might work in the game. There are other factors taking the part, but at the moment, because things are not working, that's what you summarize with. I'm now using passive scanning radars and all them kind of things, especially when it comes to nighttime flying. That also takes another characteristics in the game. That comes down to line of sight. And in the Carrack, believe it or not, this ship is a bloody good ship. Every day I fly this ship, it amazes me. But as the game stands now, the only thing you have in this ship to your advantage is speed. Okay? Speed. It's not intercombat or nothing, it's just about speed. But suppose you've got two people on here. The ship will be equipped for combat. Why? Because your second person can be acting as a gunner. But when the server blade comes in, okay, you have two gunners on the ship. One, the pilot will have access to two sets of guns, and the gunner will have access to two sets of guns. Now me, I will be accessing the remote turret at the end of the day. Look at this, will be in the bottom turret guarding my backside. Now with this ship has got good coverage of defense capabilities. That's because all 8 guns can face forward, sideways or backwards at any one given moment. That makes this ship a very, very powerful ship when it comes to defense, because you don't want to get too close because this ship can hurt you. It can hurt you. And to have speed to its advantage again, it makes it even more dangerous. But guess what? It's also got drones. There's so many capabilities you can do with drones. What they're going to put in the game, sooner or later they will put it in the game. It could be extra torrents. Now that will be extra people. It's so much. This ship is, let's put it this way, I bought the Odyssey. The Odyssey needs the Carrack, but the Carrack don't need the Odyssey. Because the Odyssey is a support ship, it's a carrier. The Carrack is not a support ship. It's an exploration ship that can do all the above. Cargo. Takes 500 cargo units. You've all heard that the whole sea and all them ships will have cargo so they can be easily taken off and put on. This has got 3 cargo modules. When it comes to changing cargo, it will be faster than the whole B and faster than the whole A, because it's only got 3 cargo units and it's only 3 modules. And the whole B, I speculate, will have 512 cargo units. But when it comes to shipping cargo around, the Carrack will be it. And remember, the Carrack's more versatile at the end of the day. So when it comes to making money and versatility, you're not going to get bored in the Carrack. Side tracking is working very well now. Just simple little tweaks now. Now that's eye coordination and mouse, but obviously to get it to this quality, it took a lot of tweaking for the mouse to work with my eyes at the same time. But obviously CIT has done a few things, obviously made this happen, so I'm not going to take all the credit. I did it, you know what I mean? No, but this is beautiful, this is really, really good. And to say I'm doing this in SLI on a 1080 Ti, and you can only get this on the 380 Ti, you know what I mean? Without SLI, you know what I mean? This is bloody good. When I bought my PC 5 years ago, I bought it for the future. I'm now into the future and I'm still saving on my pocket spends. This is bloody brilliant. My next aim is to go VR. I was supposed to come VR last year with the HP Reverb, but I got so many people saying it was rubbish. And the notes that I saw on it, on paper, no. And then now people saying the HP Reverb is one of the best out there. But there's a lot of reasons why, but next year, VR is going to kick off with Star Citizens. But they haven't got enough developers or enough testers to really put it through its pace. So if you've got anything to do with Star Citizens and you're into eye tracking, let's get the videos out there. CIT wants to make this game working for everybody. But I'm going one step further. I'm going finger tracking. I'm going mind tech, because the HP Reverb's got it, and I'm hoping these next sets that come in will have it. I hope this looks good on stream as it does in the way I'm playing it. I'm using vertical joysticks because that's the only thing that works with this game now. I've got throttles, but the throttles have to be used in a totally different way. not in the standard way as it says on the tin. This game is a 6-degree dot, or 6 degrees of freedom. You can only get that through the joysticks. The throttle takes away 2 degrees of it. That works in a totally different way. It's like a gear stick. With the purples, it's like 2 steering wheels mashed into one. One hand does one and the other hand does the other. I mean, the eye tracking and the mouse wasn't easy. It'll break again tomorrow. I want to enjoy what I've got for now. She's actually moving, huh? I haven't gone anywhere, I just had my mic on mute for a bit there. I'm just admiring the sceneries, comparing it to our flight simulator. I still don't believe flight simulator can come close to this. Basically what I mean is, the program aesthetics are here in Star Citizens. It's not in Flight Sim. And you can see by just moving your eyes around how stable it is. There's a lot more to come in VR. I know I'm using Tobii eye tracking, but the principles are still the same. Is it? Now, if you want to use Tobii eye tracking, my recommendation is, I know it's going to sound silly, make sure your PC can run at least 60 Hz minimum without no problems. Once you've got over that and everything's stable, you can get this. Because if your eye tracking is too powerful, your game won't work, and vice versa. Now I'm going to go outside the ship and walk around. Oh no, I'm not. I can't do that. I'd have to point up in the air because I could crash. No, it's not that I would crash. You see, I'm in atmosphere, you see. So obviously I'm the only person on here at the moment. So I've not got a co-pilot. They all want to come on at night and I'm a morning person. Just give me about 5 minutes and I'll be back. Now this is going to be dangerous. As you can see, I'm running through the water, I'm in the atmosphere. Can I get out the ship and get back in there before I plunge to my death? I need food and water and I need it now. That's one reason why I don't get, I use a carrot. But my problem is I can't get out the seat. So the best thing I can do now I wish I brought my brolly. I didn't know you could get stuck in the seat. Could it be because I was changing screens every 5 minutes? Keyboard's gone down. Oh, is he no threats on? I should have known. I had this problem last year. Too much server traffic on their side, you see. They've got actually 70 servers. That's actually a heck of a lot. I've never seen an eye before. But my problem at the moment is this. I can't get my arm. It's glitching. It's a shit. You see, I can't control none of the instruments at the moment because the keyboard's not working. So without the keyboard working, I can't do anything. And I'm low on oxygen and low on water. And if we die in the ship, you've got more problems. So what I'm trying to do is get it into atmosphere outright atmosphere the best way I can with what I've got. Well, this ship ain't gonna make it today. Again. I've just got to double click on it. You believe I've had this ship for 4 days, and this is what it's cost me. I'm hoping to glitch out before it crashes, but it's not going to do that. So starvation and thirst is going to get to me. Now there is another way around this. If I had medic on here, they could use their gun to feed me back again. It's a statement so we could get over this glitch. And that's why you see team play is so important. Because when one goes wrong with one person, somebody can always take over. But in this case today, that's not going to happen.